Thanks for watching. This is WorkSpace Real Estate. This is James Robertson. Today we are going to go into the Katy market, West Houston, looking at industrial space. So I have a client that is looking for about 4,000 square feet of industrial space. So we're going to keep this search focused on industrial and flex. We're going to look at, some of you guys may be looking at smaller spaces. So I'm going to put 2,000 to 4,500 square feet of space. We're going to keep the rents open. We're going to include undisclosed rent here as well. And as far as type of property, I'm going to put flex space and industrial just to keep things on the level. We're going to focus on existing properties as well here, and we're going to leave the rest here alone. So as far as our search, I want to look at 1718 Fry Road. Okay, so this particular area on I-10, and I'll show you guys here, you know, this is the Beltway 8, here is 99, the Grand Parkway, and of course you got Highway 6. So when we go further on the Beltway here, you see rental rates. They're more expensive along 610. They start dropping in price when we get to the Beltway here. Then they start going up again in price as we go further out toward Katy and then 99. So this particular area that we're focusing on here is going to be this particular sector. And I'm going to go ahead and parting this off here. So from Grand Parkway, I'm putting a really wide swath just so we can get an idea of the marketplace here. Okay, so when we look for industrial space in this market, you can see there's only 12 properties that are actually available in this market that are industrial, that are 2,000 to 4,500 square feet. If we took the sizes off altogether, let's see what we get. So then that jumps up to 39 properties. Let's take a quick look to see what these properties look like. Hopefully we can get a better picture of the market here. So if I were to sort these by rental rate, it's very interesting. A lot of these are withheld. So the target properties we're looking at here, which is owned by Whitestone, these are withheld. We do know the rental rates here. You just have to talk to them, and if you do deals, you definitely know where they're leasing at. But as of November of 2016, we've seen a softening in the marketplace for a lot of these guys. And I think personally, they're withholding rents because they don't want people shopping around too much. Also, there's not a ton of inventory that's available. So you're going to see a lot of opportunity here to, I think, capture savings, especially in some of these older properties. Excuse me. Let's take a look at what is actually advertised. Okay, so we have this one here, 75 cents a foot. Now that's plus triple net. I'll go ahead and take a look so you guys can see it. So this is 2355 or 23555 Clay Road. Class A industrial space here. They're saying it's 75 cents a foot, modified gross. So you have to add utilities. It's a tilt wall building here. Not a bad price as far as what they're starting at. Depends on what else is in the build out here, but that's not bad. I think it's competitive in the marketplace. Let's see what else we have here. 1718 Fry Road, which I have several clients here. We're always looking at what's more competitive than this particular property. I'll tell you guys something unique about this. So when we look at Fry Road, this property is offset. It's almost retail. I say almost because if it was a little bit closer to the freeway, then you'd have some signage abilities here. And they tried to charge for that. They thought in this market a few years ago that they were going to get a ton of development for medical users in this space. And they did. The only problem is all of these medical users were building their own spaces. They weren't taking the existing inventory. They were actually adding to the inventory. So these guys did not see the run-up that they thought they would see in the location. So their occupancy is not as high as they want. And there's some signs of weakness there. They put some churches in these properties, some other tenants that normally should not fit in a use like this, which is again an indication that these guys are being really flexible. So that's an opportunity if you know how to work it. Now Barker, let's see, 16840 Barker Springs. Let's see, there's 19,000 square feet available, and the rent is withheld here. So that doesn't give us much data. We'd have to dig into it. Let me go ahead and go back up to what people are actually giving data on. So on the higher end of WorkSpace, you have 19830 FM 1093. And the rental rate here looks like it's about $18 a foot plus triple net, which is definitely on the higher end for this type of property. Here's a picture of the site of where it's located here. So it is on West Park Tollway. I guess they're trying to account for the retail type positioning, but I don't think that's a really good value for most industrial users. If you're looking for, let me see if I can close this now. So if you're looking for an industrial space, my first question is, why locate yourself here if you don't really need the frontage? And if you do need the frontage, then this is still not optimal because of the layout here. This does not lend itself to really high visibility, this shoehorn type layout. So I don't understand why anybody would pay this kind of pricing to be on this type of frontage. It just doesn't make sense. That's definitely something I would pass on at 18 bucks. If it's softer than that, that's something I would look at, but not at that price point. Let's go ahead and see what else we got here, working our way down. Now things drop pretty dramatically from 18 bucks a foot down to 13 when we look at 19308 Morton Road. So when we look at this property, this is a typical Class B industrial space. It's $13.80 a foot, modified gross. You know, you can get a different deal when we negotiate it, of course. But these are nice little small units, 2,500 square feet, 1,200 square feet, 1,000 square feet. So these are really good for a startup industrial space. Pricing is competitive. Parking is a little tight here. You know, I can tell the parking ratio is going to be an issue with these type of users. Typically, you want to have industrial space at a 3 parking spots per 1,000 square feet to 4 parking spots per 1,000 square feet. And this looks like it'd be really close. I just have a bad feeling that it's going to be tighter than they think. So as long as you don't have a lot of visitors, that can work. 21601 Park Row. And we're just talking to get an idea of what these type of properties are. This is a Class A, very nice looking industrial space, rents withheld. I can tell you by looking at it what a good ballpark would be for this. Now, this was sold in 2015. You know, the true owner is Foxmark Real Estate Development. The taxes by themselves are $10 a foot based on the data here. And it looks like it was sold for $4.5 million in 2015. You know, I'm sure the rental rate's going to be north of the 13 bucks, probably $15 to $18 a foot plus triple net is possible. We need to talk to them. If you guys are interested in this, just email me and I'll get more information on it. But very nice. I'll tell you, when people look at properties like this, they typically see this and say, oh, I definitely want to be here. Then they look at the cost of what it costs to actually lease here. And they're like, well, what else you got that's cheaper? And then most people end up in a Class B or Class C space. This is perfect for 20 to 40,000 square foot user, you know, with these dock high loadings in the back. With, I think there's a ramp or two here as well. So this is made for a larger tenant. And with larger tenants, there's some flexibility on the rent. So it's actually more affordable the bigger you get. But if you're talking about less than 10,000 square feet, I really wouldn't recommend a deal like this. It's just, you know, that's probably maybe 10,000. If less than 10,000, I definitely wouldn't. But unless you can take 2 of these bays or 3, it's just not worth the premium you're going to pay on the price. We can get more flexibility with a larger size. So looking at the rest of these rents, you know, you can see we have rents at $7 a foot in Park Row all the way up to about $18 a foot. And I'm telling you, some of these withheld here, especially the ones that are listed by Transwestern and Stream, These are going to be on the higher end. So Langham Creek, that's an older property, which is an exception to the rule. So that one's going to be one of the affordable ones here. These are also older ones. I know the ones at Langham Creek are going to be great prices because they were built in 1978. So let's see, I'll show you guys this real quick. If you want to talk about areas for saving money, these are definitely areas where these guys are motivated. I say that because I've done some deals here. I like the fact that Transwestern and the brokers here, they understand the market well. They understand that this property is a little bit older. So because there's older inventory, they are also very close to the freeway on I-10. You can see it on the freeway when you're driving by, which is great. But here's a great thing. Here's another great thing about it. They're not charging you for that premium of being on the freeway here, and I like that a lot. So you're getting true industrial pricing here. You still get the reliability of a big management company like Transwestern, who's making sure things are on the up and up. These guys do a good job of maintenance. They have great tenants that are in these spaces here. And most importantly, it's affordable. It's a really, really, really good pick for people looking in the marketplace. So this is an area I highly recommend. We have great relationships with these guys and doing deals. And we've been able to get some great win-win situations in this market. I like Park Row as a whole because there's a lot of buildings that were developed here in the 1980s. The 80s to 1990s. So they're nice quality properties, a lot of individual owners, some REITs that own these properties here. But they did go a little bit crazy about 4 or 5 years ago in the last boom. But rates have softened a little bit. I think that expectations are more level now that the market's adjusted. So I like where these guys are at for rent. One big attribute of Park Row for office and industrial is these guys have a tremendous value for locally owned and managed businesses. You're not going to see the regional or global entities in this particular part of the market, but what you do see are a lot of mom and pop and local shops that want flexible terms and pretty good rates end up in this part of the market. So great place to keep your eyes at and look. To go back to this list, I mean, all of these withheld that you see here, a lot of these are going to be some of the nicer properties, like this, for example, on Westboro Drive. You know, this is a Class B flex building built in 2007. Very nice tilt wall construction, grade level loading, and the rental rate is, let's see what they're charging right now. Well, it was sold in 2007 for $800,000. Let's see. Well, they withheld the rent, but buildings like this, typically you got to take a little bit off because it's grade level, but this may be easily $15, $16 a foot, and it looks every bit like it's worth that. Parking might be a little bit tight, but great property, and it looks like only a very small amount of space is actually vacant here. So, you know, at 2,000 square feet, again, a solid choice if you have to have some curb appeal when you're looking for space. Okay, let me zoom out and go back to the search criteria. So all of those properties we were looking at were in this region here, right? So most of these you're going to see are contracted in Park Row on I-10, and then as you go further down, you know, they're kind of speckled throughout. As you can see, not many at all are in this part of town on West Park Tollway or further down. Now let's go ahead and look at our desired space, 2,000 to 4,500 square feet. And I'm going to keep the rents open. So we got 12 properties that could possibly work. And let's go ahead and take a look at that and just run through that really quick. So Westboro, you know, we just looked at that. That could work. I do like Park Row. These are nice properties here. Let me see if I can just go ahead and click and cycle through them. So Park Row here, you know, this was built in, let's see, looks like it was built in the 80s. Yeah, built in 1985. So these properties are really good for value. You know, if you don't need a really super strong Class A curb appeal, but you want to get the best bang for your buck, I really like these buildings on Park Row. I think that they're smart about how they lease these up. Here's another property on Park Row here. This is 16223. The rent is withheld. It was built in 1983. Similar curb appeal. It's got dock high loading in the back. Parking is more than sufficient. We can get a competitive rate here as well. And they have pretty nice office build outs there. You know, you got 2244 North Mason, Class A. Beautiful curb appeal here. Tons of parking. You got dock high loading in the back. You can see that here very well. You know, so this is, you know, again, these are regional or very large distributors or regional users here. So this is outside of the price range for most people that are local, but you'd be surprised how many people actually will look at this and say, well, that's where I want to go. It's not the best fit for regional. You're just not going to get the pricing you want for it. Let's see what else we got. So here's 2244 North Mason. We saw that one. 1306 Langham Creek. We talked about this a second ago. I really like these properties right on I-10. Beautiful location. It's very recognizable for a lot of people. Very easy to get to. And you can, depending on where you office here, you can see your sign in some cases from the freeway, which is pretty awesome. So it's as close to retail as you can get, but the pricing does not reflect that. I really like the deals we've been able to work out here with Transwestern. Barker Cypress, another good one. Park 10 Cypress Center, very flexible as well. I like those properties. Park 10, same thing. All these are built in the 80s. This one's built in 1978. The asking rent here is very good. Very, very good. At $7.80 a foot plus triple net. So now you're talking about less than $1 a foot in some cases. Now we're getting to really, really nice competitive rental rates that are very attractive for startup businesses. If I was starting up, this is where I would go. I would just focus on these type of properties here. And I wouldn't even worry about the other stuff. This one here, I told you guys I didn't like. This is built in 2013, and you can tell because of the pricing. $18 a foot plus triple net doesn't make any sense. I understand why they are charging that much because it's new construction and they got to pay their mortgage. It looks like they owe $3 million on this property right now. Yeah, looks like it's $3 million. It was sold. They didn't disclose the price. But you know what? You know, I hope it's doing well. I mean, it looks like a nice property, but I wouldn't do it if it was my money. I just don't see the reason that you need to be here at this price point. Look at how many other options we saw that are better picks. Now, if you look at the layout here, I mean, you guys have to probably squinch to see this, but there are a lot of small little suites here with some larger ones in the corner. I just don't see it. I just wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Okay, that's the one we just saw. So we got 4 more. 13820 Bellaire. Now that's definitely more of a retail type feel. Pricing is very competitive though. You know, older construction, cheaper construction as well. Parking may be a bit of an issue here. It looks like there's grade level loading throughout. I don't like putting some clients next to tire shops. It just depends on the type of business you have. You just never know. You know, tire shops can be great or not. And I can't really see the other tenant mix here. Let's see if I got data on that. Nope, I don't have any data on that one here. But the rental rate's okay. You know, the rental rate's great. Here's another one on Park Road, 19407. I like these properties here because they're older. Landlords are flexible. Let's see if we can look at the analytics here. Yeah, I don't want to bore you guys with these numbers. I can give you detailed information on this. Just email me and I'll show it to you. But I like showing people a history of what the rates usually are here. And they got 4 comps. They don't really show details. I have details that the company has that we can share with you. Excuse me, later. That we can go into a 10-year history and kind of see what they're really charging. But these guys are usually in the same ballpark on Park Road, so I'm really not, I wouldn't be surprised if they were all close to the same rate. Now here's Fry Road, which we're comparing everything else to. I got a few clients here, like I told you. Now they did a great job with the curb appeal. It's newer construction. This was built in 1999. It's kind of funny because this is built about 10, 15 years after a lot of the ones in Park Row. As far as the rental rate goes, they're more expensive. They used to be substantially more expensive. They're trying to adjust that more now. But there are some inconsistencies that we don't like here. But it's a good value. As far as location, if you have to be close to the freeway, if you have to be near Fry Road, this is one of the best options there. It's just a matter of what you need to do. I'll tell you, it's quite a thing to negotiate with these guys as well, because they're a REIT. The way that they do business is a little bit different. The tenant mix here, as you can see, is all local. We represent, Pickup Plus here, and gosh, about 3 or 4 people we represent here on the sign, and everybody is interested in looking at what options are because of pricing. Things are competitive, and I think everybody should take a look at the market and see what it would yield before you sign a renewal. I can share several stories about this park alone where people could have saved $40,000 to $50,000 on a lease on a 5-year term. That's nothing to scoff at. That's an employee. That's a car in some cases. I mean, it's a lot. So if it's money that you can put into your business, why not? And the only way you really know that is to test the market. So that's Fry Road, and I think this one is just building 1. It's just a different building on Fry Road here. So to sum things up, this is the marketplace right now with everything from West Parkway all the way up to Clay Road up here. It's a pretty good swath of the West Houston market for industrial space. And thank you guys for watching. If you have questions about any of these properties, you want more information, send us an email. We love talking about the market and talking about the availability. Our job is to find spaces for people, and that's what we're doing here. We're kind of showing you guys a glimpse at what we do when we do searches. So that's exactly what we're doing. I hope you guys were helped by this information, and we look forward to doing new ones in the future. If you guys have any tips on how we can make this better, please let me know. We're trying not to be too boring. We're trying to be as exciting as we can, talking about commercial real estate. I love this stuff, and it's fun to do. And if you're interested in more information on the market, this should be interesting as well. But if we can add more information or make this more valuable, we definitely want to know. So please reach out to us and tell us what we can do better. Thanks again for watching, and you guys have a good one.